Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Hope y'all are doing well, and it's time to mop up a little bit. We've made a pretty thorough pass through the NFL draft this year. We've done a pretty comprehensive job of looking at players that may be of interest to the Seahawks, but we never get everybody, right? And after the next couple videos, we still won't have gotten everybody, but there are a handful of players that I think need some attention. There are a handful of players that I missed the first time through that I think need to be talked about a little bit because, for one reason or another, the Seahawks should probably be at least a little interested in these guys, and in some cases, they've already shown that they are. So, we're going to take a look at 12 players who are going to be in this draft that I did not evaluate the first time through. We're going to do 6 in this video. They're going to be offensive guys, and then we're going to do defense. 6 guys on defense, and that should pretty much take us home. If there's anything that happens in the next week that requires a reevaluation, then maybe we'll deal with that. But for the moment, these are 6 guys that I think are, well, 12 guys in total, but 6 guys in this video that I think need to be looked at. So this video, we've got a quarterback, we've got 3 running backs, and 2 wide receivers. So all offense, all skill position players. For one reason or another, I just didn't talk about them the first time through, but I think we need to spend some words here. So we're going to start with the quarterback. It's Chase Garbers. He has kind of come out of nowhere for me lately. He may very well be QB7 in this draft now. You've got the clear-cut number top 6. I think Chase Garbers may have made his home in the QB7 area. I expect him to be the first QB off the board on day 3 at this point. Not a very prolific college career, but there is some appealing stuff here. California quarterback, so Pac-12 guy. Pretty decent size, 6'2", 225 pounds. Ran a 4.83 40, not good, but not terrible either. And if you look at his career, not a lot of production. His career high in yards, 2,500. Woohoo. Career high in completion percentage, 64%. Had 1 year of a yard per attempt above 8. Career high in touchdown passes, 16. Right? He did have 2 years where he had over 400 rushing yards. That's pretty good. But overall, this is not a great career, and he had an undrafted grade from the 2 big boards I found him on. However, he's creeped on up, and we're now at the point where I kind of expect Garbers to go in the 4th or 5th round, and I expect him to even go ahead of a guy like a Bailey Zapp, who was the guy I was kind of looking at as QB7. At the very least, those guys have drawn very close to each other. So what I can say about Garbers as a player, it's a little bit like poor man's, or maybe that's a little too demeaning, but a lesser version of Matt Corral. He's got solid arm talent. He's excellent on short and intermediate passes. His touch is solid on those shorter passes. Great job at putting touch on the ball when he needs to. Good football IQ in terms of using his eyes to look off defenders, keeping his eyes up when he's running. He was able to make progressions when given the chance. The offensive line at California was never very good for him, but when he's given the opportunity to go through his progressions, he can. He's got better than average mobility as well. The 40 time is not impressive, but he ran for well over 1,000 yards, up to close to, I think, 1,200 yards in his college career. So he was able to find ways to make plays with his feet. Now, is that going to carry over in the NFL because he is slow? I'm not so sure, but he did show decent ability to move around at college. The issues with Garbers, he doesn't have a great deep ball. His deep ball can get a little inaccurate. It doesn't zip through the air the way you like to see it. His pocket presence is lackluster, and even though he uses his mobility well, at the end of the day, he is slow. And this is something that you see with some of these quarterbacks who run the 4.8 40s. They're mobile in college, but then they get to the NFL, and their mobility abandons them because the defensive players they're playing are a little faster. I think Baker Mayfield is a key example of this. He looked very mobile in college, not so much in the NFL. But Chase Garbers, to me, would be a target in the late 4th to early 5th round. I think he's my favorite day 3 quarterback at this point, other than maybe Cole Kelly. And Cole Kelly's a meme anyway, so whatever. Next guy is a running back. It's Pierre Strong. And this is a guy I just kind of forgot about him. And that's my bad for sure, because this guy's very interesting. This guy was productive in his 4-year career at South Dakota State. Smaller school, I know. But he's an interesting combination of speed and vision. And if you have the opportunity to get Pierre Strong in, I would even say, the 4th round, you might have to go for it because you don't find that kind of speed that often at that portion of the draft. So Pierre Strong definitely has to be included on the running back list. He ran for at least 1,000 yards in 3 of his career years, including having a 9.5 yard per carry average in 2018 and 7 yards per carry in 2019 and 2021. 2020, I think he didn't play very many games, and he wasn't as productive. That was obviously the COVID year anyway. But the 3 other years, he was very, very efficient and productive, scored a grand total of 37 touchdowns on the ground across those 3 years, made some catches out of the backfield, not a super prolific receiving option out of the backfield, but he did amass a decent chunk of receiving accolades while he was there. 63 catches over a 4-year career, pretty good. The big boards have him in the 4th or 5th mostly. CBS has him undrafted, but that's not happening. He strikes me as a 4th or 5th round guy. His 4.37 40 time alone is appealing. So, like I said, elite speed, he's a good athlete. He's not just a straight line speed guy. He does have some agility. He does have some moves. He is an above average pass catcher. He's capable as a blocker. I wouldn't say he's great or anything. He does need to get better, but he is capable as a blocker out of the backfield. Great fit for his own scheme. Exactly the kind of running back that we should be looking for. He uses his vision to expert levels. He's got good vision. He makes hard and smart cuts. This is a running back. This is the kind of pick that I want this team to start making every year. Find an appealing running back, pick him up, and go with it from there. The issues with Pierre Strong are that he's not going to break very many tackles. He's going to make people miss sometimes, but he's not going to run through them. He's just a little too small and slight. And even though I think he's a capable blocker, like I said, he needs to get better. He does need to improve in that area. But Pierre Strong, definitely somebody I just whiffed on the first time through. So really appealing prospect, I think. Next up is kind of the polar opposite running back in Hassan Haskins from Michigan. This is another guy that I just missed out on the first time through. This guy is basically a Chris Carson replacement. If you move on from Carson and you want a Carson-like running back, this is one of the guys that makes sense. He's bigger, 6'1", 220 pounds. Ran a very slow 40, but this was coming out of high school, so it may have changed. But last time he ran his 40 that I was able to find, it was a 4.74. This guy was slow as molasses. However, that was years ago. 3 years in college. The big year that he had, of course, was 2021, 1,300 yards, 20 touchdowns, 18 catches. The big boards are kind of all over the place. ESPN and CBS have him going undrafted. Draft Network and Walter Football have him going in like the 3rd round, 4th round area. That's kind of what I expect. So I think that Hassan Haskins is somebody you would have to spend let's call it a 4th round pick on. But this 40 time is going to tank him, so it could easily be like 5th or 6th. For guys that low, it's so easy to slip like 60 plus spots. So what I can say about Haskins is that he's a very productive player from 2021. He's big and strong. He runs through people. He's got great power. He's absolutely going to break that tackle to pick up the extra 2 yards to pick up the first down, which is why I say he's a Chris Carson replacement. When he gets into the open field, he does have a little more speed than this 40 time would indicate, which leads me to believe that his 40 time has probably improved since he ran this is like 3 years old. He's a good pass protector also, which is obviously crucial. He runs with good balance. he is going to make a lot of people think of Chris Carson, I think. So you want to move on from Carson. I in my previous running back videos, I talked about the Baylor guy, Abram Smith. Hassan Haskins would kind of fill a similar niche, I think. Now, like I said, he's still not fast, right? Like, he does have a little more speed than you might expect, but he's still slow. So he's definitely got to either do a lot of work to overcome that or show that he has more speed than he's shown, which is unlikely. He's not a good receiver out of the backfield either. He has 24 career college receptions, I think. And he won't make very many people miss in the open field. He's not going to Barry Sanders anybody into the turf. He's going to run you over, but that's about it. But Hassan Haskins, interesting day 3 prospect, I think. And one final running back, Sincere McCormick, a smaller school guy, Texas San Antonio. This is a guy that I believe the... oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not the right way to say it. Not I believe. I know I've seen him attached to the Seahawks in some mock drafts, mostly because of his value as a third down back and a pass catcher out of the backfield. But he did offer more than just that at Texas San Antonio. Dude is a little small, 5'9", ran a 4.6 40, so he's not fast. But he was able to be productive mostly through his vision. You can see that he had 2 years of almost 1,500 rushing yards the last 2 seasons. Good yard per carry clip, 26 touchdowns. Over his 3-year career at Texas San Antonio, the last 3 years, he had 66 catches. Very productive receiver. And because of that, the Draft Network actually really likes him and thinks he could go in the 5th. The other big boards I found him on had him going undrafted, but I do think you are probably going to have to spend a 5th-round pick on him. Seems to be a little bit of a late riser, I guess you could say. What I like about him is he's very productive, been very productive in his career. He's very elusive, very good at making people miss, very good at making arm tacklers miss, very good at evading people in open field. He's got great vision, very patient, very good at using blockers, setting up blockers, and then hitting the hole when it opens up. He's a great pass catcher, like I said. Good fit for zone. Definitely going to be good in a zone scheme, I think. He's got some decent strength. He's not completely without the ability to bust through an arm tackle or two. And he's really good at falling forward to pick up the extra 2 yards, which, hey, crucial, right? However, he did play at a small school, and the few opportunities he got against better teams, he didn't play that well. I think I read something that said that against good teams, he only had 1 game where he averaged more than 4 yards a carry. So, probably inflated numbers because of who he was playing at UTSA. Sometimes he's a little indecisive. Sometimes he needs to be a little more definitive about putting his foot in the ground and hitting the hole. Like I said, he does have vision, but sometimes he leans on that vision a little too long. And his speed is not particularly good. 4.640 is not going to excite anybody. All right, so those are the running backs. Let's move on to the wide receivers. First, we have Velus Jones, who the Seahawks, I believe, are looking at already. I've seen him brought up in the conversation when it comes to what the Seahawks might do in this draft. Now, I'm going to say it up front. I'm not that excited about this one because he's already going to be 25 before he gets to play any NFL football. However, there is some really appealing stuff here. 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, played at a real school, Tennessee, 4.3140, really fast. 31-inch arms, almost 10-inch hands. Only has 1 year of significant receiver production. 62 catches, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. He did a lot of his work as a return man at Tennessee his first few years. He was not a prolific receiver. He did good stuff as a return man, so he gives you that value. So the big boards, ESPN loves him. They think he's a 3rd-round pick. CBS says 4th. The Draft Network says 5th or 6th. The Walter Football kind of goes in that area as well. It seems to me he's going to be an early day 3 pick. He is kind of creeping up a little bit, though. So what I can say about Velus Jones, he's excellent from the slot. Does a lot of his damage from the slot. Great production on short routes. Really good at using routes that are designed to scheme somebody open, making the catch, and then going to make somebody miss. He is elite after the catch. Get the ball in his hands. Let him make people miss. Let him use his speed. Let him break tackles even. He does those things at a very high level. And of course, like I said, he's a very plus return man. Now, the weaknesses with Velus Jones would be that he is already old, so he's already capped out. Many catches that he made were after he was schemed open. A lot of his catches were like, oh, we're going to fool the defense, so Velus Jones is just left wide open. So he's not making a lot of contested catches, and he only had 1 year of big-time receiver production, so you have to wonder how is he going to sustain that when he barely did it in college. Okay, final guy. We got Taekwon Thornton from the Baylor Bears, and this is another guy that I should have caught him my first time through on the receiver list, and I didn't. But this guy is a speed demon, and I love those guys. He's tall, and he's fast. From Baylor, 6'2", 181 pounds, so he is lean, but the 4.28 40 should get your attention. That is blazing fast. 33.3-inch arms, very long arms, tiny hands, though, 8.3 inches. That's a problem, but his hands are not necessarily bad because of that. And if you look at his college career, 2018 didn't do that much. 2019 kind of broke out, 45 catches. 2020 did not play that much. Was probably on pace to really bust out into the big time in 2020 and then didn't play enough, only 158 yards. 2021, he did kind of break out with 62 catches for almost 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, but he didn't become the super prolific receiver that some may have been anticipating after 2019. The big boards, again, all over the place. Draft Network says 4th, CBS says 5th. Walter Football kind of has him in that range too. ESPN says undrafted, but there's no way he goes undrafted after running a 4.28. He's probably going to be like a 5th-round pick, I think. Maybe even higher just because of the raw speed. So, he's ridiculously fast. He's dangerous on vertical routes, but he's not like a Deshaun Jackson where he's also really short. He's tall, 6'2". That's very credible. He's got good agility as well. He's a good athlete. Good at making things happen in space, good at using his speed to run quick slant routes to get open against defensive backs that are backpedaling. He tracks the ball well on deep routes. He's got good hands despite how small they are, and he's got good receiver instincts on finding holes in the zone. So there's actually a lot to like about Taekwon Thornton. The things to not like would be he's lean. If you press him at the line of scrimmage, you can kind of take him out of the game. He struggles to get off press. He will probably be one-dimensional in the NFL. He will probably mostly just be a deep threat when he gets to the NFL level. But I will say that one dimension could be very valuable. So those are the 6 offensive players that I missed out on evaluating the first time through. Next video, we'll be looking at the defensive guys that I also missed out on, but those are my 6. Let me know who you guys like. Let me know if you guys think I still have some people that I missed. Those are my stragglers. See you guys later. Go Hawks.